Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us today, Dr. Roizen.
My privilege.
Can you tell us how you first came to hear about and get excited about omega-7s?
My physician named Mark Penn was going to be leaving the Cleveland Clinic and had done some very interesting research in an animal model of Alzheimer's disease where the omega-7 in this animal model seemed to have prevented the buildup of plaque in arteries. So he came to me and said, you ought to investigate this in your patient population. You've got an ideal patient population. I'm leaving the clinic. He was leaving with the blessing of the clinic because of a health issue in the family, and said, someone ought to follow up on this. Why don't you do that if you can? So that's how I first heard about this.
So you kind of took over the research from there and started doing it in humans.
We started saying, what's the data on this, and do we have enough data in humans to make it a valuable adjunct, and should it be a valuable adjunct? Because look, the holy grail of atherosclerosis is if you can prevent plaque, you've got the holy grail. And if this did that, that would be a great thing for mankind. So the question is, could we find out, did it start to do things that were valuable, and then could we get enough money to do the holy grail research? To investigate plaque is enormously expensive. So we knew we could do some steps along the way that were less expensive and say whether it had a likelihood of working in humans as well as it did in animals.
I see.
And so what it's done in animals is it's prevented or decreased LDL cholesterol. It's raised HDL, or the healthy cholesterol. It's decreased triglycerides, a risk factor for atherosclerosis or arterial aging or heart disease and stroke. And it decreases inflammation, CRP. It also, in animal models, decreases hepatic fat, and it decreases, as I said in the one animal model, it decreased plaque development. The mechanism by which it does that, we aren't sure, and no one knows. Many drugs, you don't know the real mechanism. So in statins, which are one of the major drugs, atorvastatin, Lipitor, for example, we don't know why it decreases inflammation, what it does, what's the mechanism, but we know it does that. But this seems to do that in animal models with fewer side effects than do the statins. So this could be a tremendous benefit for mankind if it was shown to do that in humans.
That's really exciting. So I learned recently that omega-7s may lower some C-reactive proteins. Can you help us understand what C-reactive proteins are?
Yeah, the measure we use of inflammation, one of the common measures, is what's called highly specific, or HS-CRP, HS C-reactive protein. What that is what we call an acute phase reactant. You get a cold, it goes up. You get a chronic infection, it goes up. What are all those things? They're common to inflammation. And one of the things that people have that stimulates aging of your arteries, that causes aging of your arteries, it causes all the things associated with it: heart disease, stroke, memory loss, impotence, decay in orgasm quality, wrinkling of your skin. All those things are aging of the arteries.
And what about cholesterol? Do omega-7s have any specific benefits for somebody that's watching their cholesterol numbers?
What we aim for in cholesterol treatment is the LDL to HDL ratio. That is, you want a low, lousy, I remember it by the first initial, L, low, lousy LDL cholesterol, and you want a high, healthy HDL cholesterol. So this does exactly that. It makes that ratio better, which is exactly what you want from a cholesterol standpoint.
That's pretty amazing.
And then you want DHA, which is the active omega-3 for your brain and your eyes. So that, and it converts to EPA if you want it, which is the other one that's commonly in fish oils.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today, Dr. Roizen.
Thank you for letting me sit down with you.